Why power training circuits? Today we talk about why should you do power training circuits, which sports can benefit from power training circuits, and how power training circuits can help you to improve your sport performance. Why should you do power training circuits? So let's just imagine you are participating in a sport or you're competing in a sport that requires power output or high power output, either for a longer duration of time or repeated power outputs over time. So what does that mean? We know that due to neural fatigue and also the energy system not being able to deliver the amount of energy you need for the power production, power and performance will go down after a few seconds. So if you happen to perform in a sport that is longer than a few seconds, you need some form of power endurance. So if you're in a sport that the duration might be 20 seconds, 30 seconds, whatsoever, 40 seconds, you need to be able to maintain the power output for that period of time in competition. Or also if you're in a sport where it just takes a few seconds, the sports performance, but you have to repeat it over and over again, that also requires a certain ability to maintain that power output and not see a drop over time. So what could these sports be? From the top of my head, I can come up with a few sports, but there are probably multiple more examples. So let's think about sports like tennis. Yeah? So the duration of a point is fairly short, but also the rest between the points is incomplete. The same is true for sports like badminton, volleyball, beach volleyball, baseball or cricket, all characterized by a high intensity burst followed by a rest period, but needs to be repeated over and over and over again for a long or longer period of time. On the other side, we also have sports where the duration is longer, but the intensity within that duration varies. Let's think about sports like football. And football, I'm talking about soccer. So in Europe, we call it football. Sports like basketball, hockey, ice hockey. We can come up with various examples, but the duration of the competition is longer, and within that duration, there are high bursts of intensity. There might be a sprint, there might be a jump, there might be a quick change of direction, there might be a throw if we think about handball whatsoever. So even though the competition is a little bit longer, within that time span there are peaks of high intensity where you need to develop a lot of power. Similarly, martial arts. So if we think about traditionally like boxing, the length of a round is 3 minutes, but within that period there are higher intensities and lower intensities, but you need to be able to maintain the intensity throughout the round, plus over and over again, because there are multiple rounds. And the same is true for other martial arts as well. So if we go back, the duration is longer, but within that duration there are high intensity efforts, and in some sports, thinking about basketball, thinking about handball, just to name a few examples, there is also such thing that is called the crunch time, right? So the last minutes of the game are most of the times the deciding minutes. So in that moment when you are most tired, most fatigued, this is where you need to bring your performance and where it counts. So that is a good example why you need to be able to maintain high power outputs over the entire duration. Concluding, wrapping up, why should we do power training circuits? Power training circuits can resemble the sport-specific requirements of high-intensity bursts followed by a short period of rest, incomplete rest, and high-intensity bursts. It can also help to train the ability for sports where the maintenance of high power outputs are required, so maintaining high power outputs over a period of 20 seconds, 40 seconds whatsoever. And also sports where the entire duration of the competition is long, but within that long duration, there are high intensity bursts that need to be repeated over and over again. And the most important bursts are usually at the end of the competition. So you want to be freshest when you're most tired, which is probably not possible. But again, this is something we need to prepare the athletes for.